we made it to step functions. I pretty much feel like my other videos covered the notes, or at least some topics in the notes. Hopefully they're helpful for some of the notes from before. I did promise that once we got to the step functions, I would show how we could do jumping a little bit. So, thinking of a game, a platformer where you have a character, you can control them to move them left and right, and then you can also make them jump. So let's do that, right? Let's make a little jumper game. Now, also I promised that, jumping is potentially really, really complicated, and there's a lot of different ways that you could approach doing jumping. So it's going to be a simple, basic jumping. I'm not going to include hit detection where you're going to jump up onto platforms or on top of enemies or something like that. Just the jump motion is what we're doing. I'll leave it to you to try and figure out, okay, if I'm coming down on a jump and I hit an object, the bottom of this hits that object, then I stop moving, I'm not doing all that. But we're just going to get a basic jump in there, and hopefully that can kickstart you to kind of figure out where you want to go with jumping. So let's start with just a basic character that can move left and right, yeah? So let's just make my player, and I'm going to make the player a circle at 200. Let's call it 420. And so now we've got a player character at the bottom. Oh, not 400. 380, I suppose, is what it would be, because I want it to be, the bottom of the circle touching. And then we'll use the bottom to be checking. Or maybe hits if I want to put an object at the bottom right at 400, but I'm not going to do that. Right, we're doing, okay. Anyways, we got the player. Let's do, let's define on key holds and then keys. And if right is in keys, because keys is a list of objects, or maybe it's a group. I think it's a list, and then we haven't learned about lists yet, and we did learn about groups a little bit. But this was in Unit 5 to say, like, oh, you can check if one of the keys is inside of the keys variable by doing this, and just, it's magic. We don't know what that stuff is yet. So if right is in keys, I'm going to have the player. I know we're doing step function, but because this is just going to be an easier way, I don't want to have, I want to have the player be able to stop just by letting go. So if they're holding the right key, I'm going to set the player.dx equals 0, player.dy equals 0. Oh. Yeah, I guess I could just do with this on key press and on key release. On key press, and I'll just do a key, and if the key equals right, I will set the player's x velocity equal to 5, and elif the key is left, I'll set their x velocity to -5. And then I'm just going to say on def on key release key. You get the key that's released, I think. I'm just going to set the player.dx equal to 0. And so this way, now I have my little character. Right, I don't have a step function, so of course it's not going to go anywhere. Let's add a step function in here. Def on step, we're going to, what are we going to do? Set the player's center x equal to plus equal to the player's acceleration. That's always what we're going to do. So now, alrighty, we got the player moving left and right. Very nice. He can move left and right. Very cool. Ugh. I don't like that. I think I have to use on key holds. Because I'm holding down a button, and I press another button, and I release it. Now we've stopped. Gross. I don't like it. We're switching this to on key holds. Do I leave this in the video? Yeah. Seeing me fix my mistakes. Whatever. So we're going to switch this back to on key holds and then keys. And if right is in keys, then we're good. Is there a nice way to do this that I can think of right now? I mean, we'll do this. Oh, duh, yeah, I just don't need to have on release, right? Because when it's not being held, then we're good. If left is in keys, and that should do it, right? Huh? What's going on here? I have another program that I did before. On key hold. Lol on key holds. There we go. That's my issue. Right, except when I let go. So here I'm not going to be using the step for moving. I'm going to be just player dot center x plus equals, we'll just do 5 here. And then same thing here, -5. Minus equals 5 center x. Oh, duh. Let's get rid of the onStep function for now. Here we go. All right. Got the player moving back and forth, left and right, and now I can like release other keys and it doesn't make me stop. So that's on key hold is nice. Whew, what are we, 5 minutes in the video and I'm just fixing my own stupid errors? What kind of teacher am I, right? I should know everything. Okay. What was the point of this video? to jump. All right, so let's learn how to jump. Now let's do, alrighty. Method 1 for jumping. We're gonna do on key press, and we're gonna check if the key equals the space bar. What we're gonna do, and here's the first way of doing this, is we're gonna set a state and have it when I press the jump bar, the player goes into a jumping state. And then that state kind of has everything that we need all at once. So that state's going to be player.isJumping. And we're going to start off with that as false, because by default, the player is not jumping. But if we press the space key, what we're going to do is set the player.isJumping to true. And now we have a thing that I can move left and right, and I can press the space bar, and now it sets jumping to true. Great. Oh, I do also need to check if the key is pressed, space, and... Yeah, it's fine. We'll let you double jump or whatever. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have a step function, and we're going to say if is actually, here's what I want to do. I want to set the player to is jumping, and when I set them to is jumping, I'm going to set their y velocity, player dot y velocity is going to, I'm going to set it equal to, right? Because when you jump, it's like a fast force. You start moving up like immediately. I'm going to set its velocity to -5 immediately. Okay? And now I'm going to say if the player is jumping, and I could say if it's equal to true, but that's the same thing because since is jumping is either true or false, if it's true, well, then the if statement's true, so it works. If it's false, it's not true, so it fails. So if the player is jumping, I'm then going to start accelerating them back downwards. So I'm going to say the players dot dy minus equals, and let's do like 0.5. Okay. And all we're going to do also here now is we're going to check if the player dot is jumping. I think if the player dot bottom is less than or equal to 0, we are going to set their dy back to 0, and we're going to set that they're jumping to false again. Is this going to let us jump? Let's see. Hit space. Lol. Okay. The issue with that is I hit space, I set it to true, I set my velocity to moving, and then immediately I set it, I start bringing it down a little bit, and then, oh, duh, I also need to be constantly having the player dot center y equal to the player's dy, right? Before I wasn't actually making, plus equals. The player was not moving during the step, so of course I'm not going to see the jump happen. So now if I jump, that was too fast. Oh, no. When I set it to jumping, I started having it accelerate. The acceleration continued to have it keep going up because negative in the y is going up. So let's do this. And now, when I jump, why did it? Can I get it back up here? Why did it fall through the screen? Oh, duh. Because the player's bottom is never going to be less than 0 if it's greater than or equal to 400. All right, let's see it. Jump. Yeah, that is a problem. Greater than 400? The issue is that I kind of get stuck where I might need to jump more than once. Right, when I first ran this, I jump, and I'm kind of like stuck under the ground. I need to press it again. So I need to see... so let's just stick with this, at least for now. We got a basic jump working a little bit, right? I can move left and right, and then I press the space bar and I jump. And that's pretty cool. The issue is that if I jump too high, right, I can also double jump. I never stop myself from double jumping, but if I jump too high, now I'm stuck under the ground, and I kind of have to like jump my way out of the ground. And maybe that's a cool part of the game, right? Like that's a bug that we keep. But if I come at the ground with too much acceleration, I'm halfway into the ground here, and now I need to jump once or twice before I get out. And I don't really like that. And the issue is because I'm checking if the player's bottom is greater than 400, so I'm checking if I'm like at the bottom of the screen. I want to see... let's think about this. Can I check if it's equal to 400? Will I just fall through potentially there, though? I feel like if I check I'm equal to 400, I will just fall through one of these days with the acceleration. Yeah. So you definitely want to be checking, right? So even though it's 0.5 and it's 5 and you should theoretically... no, I guess you could potentially make it so you don't quite exactly hit 400. So we always want to check if we're greater than or equal to 400, but that gets us to the point where, again, we're stuck in the bottom over there. Boop. Right? And I might need to do, let's jump up a bunch, and then if the acceleration comes down too fast, hey, why'd that acceleration work perfectly? Why am I no longer... Ah, here we go. Now we're in the ground a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and do not fix this. I got a decent jump working. And you know what? This jump is feeling so satisfying here that why would I bother showing you a Castlevania jump? This one's pretty cool. I would recommend playing around with the numbers a little bit to make it feel how you want. There is definitely a way to make it where once you're jumping, maybe it's if this key is space and the player is not player dot is jumping. I yeah, this will stop me from being able to. Oh, they don't like exclamation point. Maybe I can just say and not player is jumping. Yeah, this doesn't let me jump more than once, so that's pretty cool. I'm not going to go through the Boolean algebra to show you why that works and what's going on there, but hopefully you can kind of work through it a little bit, right? So I press the space bar, and player.jumping is not true, which means I'm only going to be allowed to jump when it's false, and then I set it true, and that stops me from being able to double jump. Anyways, I don't know. I'm just kind of messing around here. I don't really have a good end to this video, but we got a nice kind of cool feeling jump over here. This feels pretty nice. I like the acceleration down. There's stuff where you could do with on key holds so that when you hold the jump, jumps a little bit higher. They definitely use that in a lot of platforming games, right? Where if you just tap the jump key, you kind of do a little jump, and then if you hold the jump key, you'll accelerate for a certain amount of time, and then no matter how long you hold it for, it starts coming back down again. But like I said, you can spend hours and hours and months making your jump feel really, really good. And that's just feeling good right now, like on a base. We also need to make sure that we're not going through the floor like we had before. If we want to have platforms that we're jumping around on, now we need to have collision detection with those platforms. That's not what I promised I would do in this video. We're just getting the jump going, and the video is already probably like 18 minutes. So I'm done here. That's it for Unit 6. Tons of cool stuff in Unit 6. This is easily my favorite unit so far, because now that we've got if statements and on-key press and on-key holds and our step pattern and groups also, which I haven't touched in a little while, just like there's so much that you can do. You can make so much cool stuff here. So yeah, hope you keep enjoying the videos. Hopefully they're valuable to you all, and I'll see you next time.